Welcome to the Chris Clark Podcast Show. Appreciate y'all listening for another week. We got a great topic yet again for you guys. We're talking about men empowerment. That's right, men empowerment. I got four of my good friends, long time Goultown, Bridgeton representing friends in the house. Mr. Bryan Smith, aka Kofi, JT Burks, and Mr. Levi Feeney. All right, look. Before we get started, I do want y'all to follow me on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Chris Clark Comedy, Twitter, Snapchat, and also Clubhouse at Comic Chris Clark. And just visit my website, chrisclarkcomedy.com, sign up for the newsletter. And listen, y'all, for the month of February, I'm trying to spotlight small businesses. So if you have a small business, just contact me on any of my social medias, or you can email me at chrisclarkproductions.com and send me your small business, and I'll give you a shout out on the podcast show. And our small business for the day is La Lashes. La Lashes is actually running a sale this month. All luxury mink and magnetic lashes are $10 only just for this month. And they also have waist trainers. So ladies, if you're trying to get that waist right for the summer, get wasted by Lala. She can be reached on Instagram at Lala_lashes85, or she can be reached by phone at 856-974-0408. All right, listen, we are talking about men empowerment, and just like last week, you know, I want to give a Black History fact that you may or may not know. This week's Black History fact is Claudette Colvin. Claudette Colvin is actually one of several women who refused to give up their seat before Rosa Parks. So Rosa Parks didn't actually start that. It was Claudette Colvin and a couple other women. The Montgomery bus boycott on March 2nd, 1955. The 15-year-old girl refused to move to the back of the bus 9 months before Rosa Parks. She was inspired by black leaders that she was studying, like Harriet Tubman, in her segregated school. So y'all, it's a big article on her, Claudette Colvin. Google her. And, yeah, it's a real interesting story. So that's our Black History fact for the day. Listen, like I said, I got some special guests. A couple weeks ago, I had two of my good friends. Now I got three of my good friends, and we're going to be talking about men empowerment. I'm going to let them give their own credentials. We're going to start off with, Mr. Levi Feeney. Mr. Levi Feeney, tell them about yourself.
Hey, yo, what's going on? My name is Levi Feeney. I'm from Bridgeton, New Jersey. Reside in Violin now. Just random dude. I was an athlete growing up. A lot of my friends that y'all see today, that's how we came up, straight from sports. Babe Ruth, Bridgeton Midget Football Leagues. Went to school, Bridgeton High School. We was raised doing the same things, loving, you know what I mean, our village. We basically had like a village lifestyle. Everybody was friends, cousins, family members. Went to school, Bridgeton High School, like I said, graduated from Rowan University, work at Bridgeton Public School Districts. Been in community service and activism, I would say, for maybe about 15, 16 years and whatnot. And a lot of us, that everybody really that's here, we all been doing the same thing for years and whatnot. So, but one thing, I'm the vice president of Positive Vibrations, along with JT Burks,
Nice.
The president. I had a lot of different, credentials as far as media services and whatnot. And one thing I just want to do is make an impact on anybody's life that I come across in any way, in any form or fashion, give kids opportunities to understand where, that if you maximize your potential, there's unlimited expectations that you can achieve. So that's all real basic.
Nice. Mr. JT Burks.
What's going on, everybody? Yeah, JT Burks, man, just a regular dude from the community. Grew up just like anybody else, humble beginnings. And, everything that I experienced in my youth growing up, I kind of use as the fuel for everything that I do now in community work. And like Levi said, I'm the president of Positive Vibes Community Group, where, we go out here and reach the kids and families through athletics, exploration, education, and literacy. And that's what, I'm about in the microcosm, man. Family man, man of God, husband, father, and just trying to, do my due diligence just to shine light and be a positive person that people can turn to.
Nice, nice. B. Smith, Kofi. Kofi, I'm sorry.
Kofi. B. Smith, Bryan Real. No, I actually got Kofi when I went over to Ghana in West Africa, and they basically gave me that name because I was born on a Friday.
Oh, wow, so nice.
That was like a personal nickname for me. I was like, you know what? When I go back, I'm not letting go of that experience. I'm not letting go of what y'all gave me, my family, and that, I kept Kofi when I came back.
I like that.
I used that for my empowerment speaking. You know what I mean? Like even in my book that is coming out, I had Bryan Kofi, quotes and Kofi. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I'm keeping it. That's just dear to my heart. But first and foremost, before I do my introduction, I want to say that none of these guys are regular dudes.
Yeah.
Right? Like to be a community activist is not regular. Mm-hmm. To pour from an empty cup isn't regular. You know what I mean? Right. To do your due diligence in the community just isn't regular. That's a village mindset, and it takes strong individuals with society that we have today to do the things that those brothers are doing and that we've done in our past. You feel what I'm saying? So being modest and being humble is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm here to say that without the humble and the modest, that it's nothing regular about the work that we do in the community.
Right.
Like it may not be appreciated as much, but it's not regular. Right. So I'm from Bridgeton, Gould-Town, both. Right. Grew up in Bridgeton, 7th, 8th grade, went to Gould-Town, went to Cumberland. So both is dear to my heart. So I don't know which one to represent during what time. So they both my heart. I'm a Bridgeton Bulldog, I'm a Cumberland Colt. Right. Did music and entertainment, did events, worked with Levi on several different occasions when it comes to entertainment, and moved to Atlanta, went into the nonprofit industry. Well, I was in the nonprofit industry prior to move to Atlanta, but that's what took me there. And then now I'm in a consultant field. So I am doing executive coaching, empowerment coaching, and leadership consulting for organizations and companies.
Nice. Man, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was actually going to say what you said about you guys not being regular. This ain't for y'all listening. I just didn't pick 3 random guys. I picked 3 guys that are actually doing something in the community, doing something with themselves, their family, and everything. Just to go with the topic that we're talking about today, because I know they can give some great insight on what we're getting ready to talk about, which is men empowerment. All right, fellas, let's get into it. Look, first question.
Let's go.
Like I said, we ain't holding back. Let's go in. JT, we'll start with you. Why is there a lack of men empowerment sessions, like compared to women? We know women have everything, like every other day they got something, girl power, black girl magic, something to build them up. They have it, but you rarely see, I'm not going to say there's any because there are some, but you rarely see, men empowerment sessions or things for men to empower themselves, especially black men. Why is that?
Man, I just think it's due to, miseducation, across the board, whether it be in athletics, religious settings. People automatically put men out and just say, just figure it out.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is.
Right.
It's like they look at us as if we're just supposed to just have this magic wand to find our identity, find our masculinity with little or no guidance.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like men don't need to cry in the open. Men just are tough-willed, these strong individuals that's impenetrable as far as showing their softer side, so to speak.
Right,
so people just automatically think we know all the answers because we're men. And they don't expect us to bounce ideas off of each other. So it's pretty much like a cultural problem from where you're brought up as a young man, people, if you fall and scrape your knees, toughen it up. Don't cry. Now you're literally hurt.
Yeah.
You hurt just like anybody else. You bleed, your feelings get hurt, you want to cry, and people just say, nah, man, have thick skin. And nobody never tells you why you are not supposed to deal with your emotional side. So when you become an adult, you just start brushing stuff to the side. I'm not supposed to go to the next man to let them in and expose myself as far as my fears and my doubts and needing reassurance.
Yeah. Wow. Kofi, same question. Why is there a lack of men empowerment sessions compared to women?
When it comes to gender, it goes into, I think the only thing I can dive into is the emotional aspect of it. Mm-hmm. Due to our nature, right? Like, we're more prideful. Mm-hmm. We have been taught, like Brother JT Burks said, we have been taught to be those prideful, to have everything together, figure it out on your own men, right?
Right.
Men carry a certain title. A king carry a certain title. And we're supposed to have it together. We're supposed to know what we need to do. And if we don't, we suffer in silence until we get it together. But sometimes that suffering in silence can last over a period of years, right?
Right.
If we don't get the right empowerment, that silence can be 5-10 years. It could be to your damn deathbed, right? Like, we could be suffering silence for so long without the empowerment. But I think it's because of that alone. It's men carry a certain set of pride that don't allow us to be vulnerable and transparent. Where women, that comes natural as the nurturer, right? Yeah. Like, as a nurturer, you're automatically transparent. You're automatically empathetic. You're automatically giving off your emotions or wearing it on your sleeve. So it's easier to have these events where we're going to empower each other versus men. Like, what are we going to talk about? If we come into that event, therefore, mentally, we got to be prepared to be open to emotion.
Right.
So you're looking at another grown man and you're talking about failures, right? You're talking about doubts. You're talking about fears. You're talking about being held down. So basically, it sounds mentally, consciously as excuses, but it's real life. But who wants to talk about those things in public with other men that you don't trust?
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, women is a common ground already. You feel what I'm saying? There's a common ground. We're emotional. That's the common ground. We're emotional. We want to do something about it. Right. There's no common ground with men. You feel what I'm saying?
I got you.
The pride there blocks us.
Wow. Levi?
Just catapulting off of that, like, you gotta look at it like society creates the norms now. Like, media they're already destroying masculinity, and they're destroying the brotherhood factor. You know what I mean? Like, right now, if the brotherhood factor for all of us, I can say I can support all three of us. If there was somebody that swung on either one of y'all, I'm coming from the other end just like that. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all my brothers. That's that brotherhood. We had that connection. You look at our old football pictures and our old Babe Ruth pictures and stuff where we all lined up. Those were our brothers. So society, to me, has destroyed the norms as far as brotherhood. We already know what the media is doing to masculinity and how they're making it be shunned upon. So that's a piece of it where there's no support group. Forget the man, forget the male. We're empowering us, these women over here, or we're empowering this and that other organization. This other group of people, but we're not worried about them because basically I feel like this. If you look at the way they're promoting, how they're promoting, gay rights and everything else, but they don't promote, let's say, therapy and for African Americans a lot. You don't see that in our urban areas anymore, and you definitely don't see them promoting that to black men as well. When we've seen some trauma, but nobody wants to support that. They don't want to. They don't understand, or they don't think that we have PTSD for some of the things that we've experienced or anything like that. So to me, the social norms are just being construed and it's shunned upon. I mean, all you got to do is look how the men back in the day in the 60s 70s, during a lot of the movements, how they connected, they supported each other, like the Black Panther movement and whatnot. Those brothers came together and they supported each other. Yeah, they were dealing with, a whole bunch of issues, but they came together and supported. So now you look at it, it's just like, forget men. We're going to de-escalate every single thing that they try to do together. And, hey, they got to learn how to deal with it. And, even in some of our families, like Burks was saying earlier, they just tell you, you got to toughen up, be a man about it. And like we were saying earlier, sometimes that volcano erupts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a wrap.
Yeah.
We don't, you know what I mean? And I've been to places, I have been in situations where I really needed a support group or something. And I keep it real. If it wasn't for maybe 2 to 3 or 4 other guys at the last, at that particular moment, I would have lost my mind because I had no support group. Nobody told me, Levi, you should go. Well, one person did tell me later, Levi, you should go see a therapist. I never even knew what I thought, man, nah. But when you meet and you go there and you be like, yo, I should have been doing this for years. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not every day or every week, but I should have been doing that. So, but you'll find every now and then you'll find a support group, but it's on your own, but nobody promotes it. So that's how I look at it. I think it's just shunned upon. Masculinity and brotherhood, period, is just shunned upon in America, in society, period. So that's my stance on it.
Yeah, man, I think all three of y'all hit the nail on the coffin. Everything that I was thinking about, why men can't be empowered. B said it, like our emotions, man. We don't know how to deal with each other's emotions. We don't know how to deal with our own emotions. So how am I going to help my brother out? Dealing with his emotions. You know what I mean? So then we can't have a empowerment session to help each other out because we don't know how. You know what I mean? It's just, it's tough. And then, I know a lot of us think it's feminine, to get in touch with get in touch with that side. Like, oh, okay, I don't want to talk about feelings. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. I don't want to tell you what's hurting. But, Levi, to kind of go with what you said, I actually, I was going through something, and just to talk, it was a couple brothers at my church, and just to talk to them and realize they going through the same thing I'm going through. You know what I mean? Or went through the same thing I went through, so they can help me out. Yo, brother Chris, do this and this and this and this and this. And I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? You realize, even with our women, realize a lot of us going through the same thing with our women. Yeah. But we don't know it because we don't talk. Right. And you know what I mean? Like you said about the volcano, we get so built up, then we explode. We in jail or dead. You know what I mean? So yeah, we got to talk more. Let me go to the next question. Why do you feel, Levi, I'll start with you. Why do you feel, women have to degrade men in order to be empowered? It seems like every empowerment session, women have is, we don't need no man and blah, blah. Like, why do you feel they have to degrade us in order to feel empowered?
Because, and I might get in trouble for this, but they're emotional. They're emotional creatures. They were developed. Men were developed as logical thinkers.
Yo, wait, hold on. What? What Omar Gooden said on Baby Boy, unstable creatures.
Hey, yo. Because I'm about to go in, man.
Go ahead, man. It's getting too bright in here. Put the shades on.
That could be logical. Don't get me wrong, but we are more logical in a sense, and we don't operate off of a whole bunch of emotions unless you got this younger generation. That's a different story now. Yeah. But I think that they degrade us as a lot of them degrade us for validation purposes, and they avoid their accountability portions. So everybody is accountable for their issues. It's just like a chick that I've heard B talk about that a bad lover don't make him a bad father or something in one of his rap songs. So you'll have a woman who's scorned from a relationship, destroy that man And maybe that man might have made a mistake or whatnot. But she destroys that man's entire character and not even realize, okay, I chose this man. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I knew what he had going. I knew he was out here doing this. I knew he was out there doing that all this time. But I chose him. So I think a lot of things we find out where we get smeared and all that other stuff. It has a lot to do with validation of self. Mm-hmm. Victimizing, that's a big thing a lot of people do. I don't understand why, but and some men do it too, but we victimize ourselves as a front to avoid that mirror. And we look in the mirror, if everybody look in the mirror and they realize, okay, you know what? I was wrong. Yes, she was wrong, but what can I do better? You know what I mean? What can I do to help myself do this? So that's what I kind of feel like. A lot of women do that to validate themselves to avoid the accountability portion of what they need to do to be a better person and be a better version of themselves. So that's why I think we get attacked, we get hit hard, they throw us down, kick us to the curb, and we still bounce back. But it just, I guess it makes them feel better. That's what it is. And it's based off of emotions versus the logical aspect.
Need somebody to blame. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. JT, same question. Why do you feel women have to degrade men to be empowered?
I think, just like Levi said, lack of accountability and being honest with, I think it also comes down to an identity crisis to where, a man is a natural symbol of what we would call strength. So take it to like the animal kingdom. If you see a male lion, he gets all the praise for the beautiful mane and all that type of stuff. So, but when behind the scenes, the lioness is the ones that really put in all the work. So I think a lot of times women just deal with that factor. You know what? If people could just see past his masculinity and what people will perceive as a symbol of strength, to understand that we as women are just as naturally strong, I think it just becomes a battle of the sexes. The only way that I can kind of get people to see a chink in his armor is to degrade his name. Because a lot of times that's what a lot of us have. It's just your name.
Right.
And if I can degrade that and make him look bad in that capacity, then I don't have to deal with as much guilt, I would say, and I think that's what a lot of women I would see, from what I've been able to perceive, is like if I could just break him down, then I won't feel as guilty. Because think about the place that we're put in. If a man makes a mistake with a good woman, people might say, dang, he messed up.
Right.
But it don't get that much attention. When a woman messes up with a good man, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's called, so she has to deal with that. You know what I mean? So the best way to not have that guilt on her shoulders is to try to make him look bad and paint a bad picture. And that's in everything, man, from politics, just trying to get a new position and just excel in life. The best way, it seems, the strategy that they have is to just degrade the guy that, in a sense, they feel as though they're competing with for attention or clout or whatever it may be.
Yeah. Wow. B. y'all should have put y'all cash apps up here. Y'all preaching.
Listen, I'm going to say this. I would say I've seen two different types of women empowerment events. I have. I've seen a positive one. I did.
Okay.
I was at one. I was actually there, physically there. I was like, damn, I need to date somebody here. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was an event where, because I do want to give this, I do want to give love to the ones who do have effective women empowerment events, right?
Right.
Like they did. It was about, their entrepreneurship. It was about their development. It was about self-accountability. They were speaking it all the stuff I needed to hear. They were speaking, and I felt comfortable there. Not one time did I feel in defense. But then you got the other ones.
Yeah.
And these are the ones that we're talking about here. And I look at it like this: it's pain leading pain, right? You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In a nutshell, it's pain leading pain, right? Trauma bonding.
Right.
not taking account, like you all spoke, like JT and Levi spoke about the accountability and all of those things, victimizing. All of that come with anger. It comes with the pain. It's the work, and this is a human thing. It's so difficult for us to look in the mirror.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so easy for us to project.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's so easy for us to project. If we continuously project and we're not looking in the mirror.
The ego.
So, right. Yeah. So when a woman is hurt and it's torn or whatever, and it can be torn both ways, like JT said, they've made the mistake. Right? And they can't fathom the fact that I made the mistake. I hurt a good man. Like, I messed up. Right? Let's go on this rampage of hate all men. Right? So, and then the second thing I say is a common friend sometimes exists, and this comes with trauma bonding, exists because of a common enemy. So if we all come together, the best way we can be friends and empower each other is this common enemy. And if it would hurt us all is this men, like this is what I hate. I hate when, like, and I'm in Atlanta, so I hate when I meet a female and she be like, oh no, I dated somebody from up north. I never date an up north person again. You know what up north is? Up north is like DC all the way to goddamn Boston and up. You know what I'm saying? Rhode Island. So you telling me all of these states from Delaware up, you don't want to date because of one guy. That's how much hurt has been inflicted on you, right? So these are the type of individuals that's leading these type of empowerment conversations. Right? Your one-man experience that you're not being accountable for in whatever you had going on with the relationship. Now, some, they may do. There's some men out there that do mess it all up for the good men. That's not, I'm not going to, acknowledge that. You feel what I'm saying? We have to acknowledge that there are shitty men and there are men out there messing it up for the good men, but that comes with the healing process, not the women empowerment hate men process. That's not a process to healing. That's a process of deflecting. Right. And it feels good in the moment till you leave the empowerment conference and you got to go back and deal with your pain. So at the end of the day, I look at it like that. It's more so of pain leading pain. And I want to encourage men and women in any type of empowerment. If it's not about healing, it's not about uplifting. If it has to down somebody else to uplift you, it's not empowerment.
That's true.
Wow, that was good.
If I can, Chris, I can add to that, man.
Go ahead, brother.
Just simple as, what B was saying. This is what I try to tell people a lot of times when they ask me for advice. A lot of problems persist because people fail to admit that hurt me. You know how much can be fixed with, bro, that hurt. Simple as that.
Or an apology.
Yep.
Apology sometimes.
They that's where killings start. People kill each other because they hurt. Instead of saying they hurt, they want to hurt you. So I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna take you out. I'm gonna do something that's gonna hurt you. Instead of talking about it, like, yo, that hurt me, bro. Like, real talk. Now, if he don't acknowledge he hurt you, then do what you gotta do. But but yeah, definitely. And that kind of leads me into the next question. Like, I know we hinted on it a little earlier. B, we'll start with you on this one. Why do you feel, why do men feel they're too proud to be empowered? Like, is it a sign of weakness?
That's a great question. Because it's like, it's in the middle. Like, it's literally like in between a sign of weakness and a sign of I don't have the strength. I'm not familiar with the strength. I'm not educated enough in the strength of transparency. I'm not familiar with the strength of being open. That's a strength. It's the strength of being transparent. But if you're not educated on those strengths, you feel what I'm saying? It's like you're in the middle. It's not like I'm going in like, nah, I'm not willing to be weak. you're not willing to understand what strong is, but you haven't been educated on it. So it's like you're in the middle.
Right.
And then when you're in the middle, you're going to lean towards adult. Yeah. Because you don't know how. You feel what I'm saying?
Yep.
So when you go in, it's more so I'm going in. I want to, in my deep down inside, a man want to be empowered. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right. Deep down inside. Now, I done talked to the most thoroughest people, just came home, 10 years, you know what I mean, in the streets. I have that, and I'm just being personable at this point. I have that gift of when I'm around anybody, but when I'm in the streets, they transparent with me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I had a homie cry on the phone like, bro, I'm 30 plus, man. I ain't where I'm supposed to be, man. The streets lied to us, da 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 da. But on his Facebook, he's still banging.
Yeah.
Right. Y'all won't see that part. I seen that part.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? Yep. I seen that he don't want to be that. I seen that he want to be more. It's the strength of being educated on how that we lack. So it's like, or not like, yeah, we lack because we gonna all be men that we lack to be like, how can I do it? Because it's a long road. That's a long road. Yeah. It's a long road. We in our 30s. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's a long road of going back to relearn at a space where you're supposed to be at some form of success for your life.
Right.
Whatever you identify it is. So at the end of the day, you got to open up and say, I'm broke, or I'm not financially there, or I haven't even met or figured out what my dream is. I ain't even figured. I'm around all these men that's about to be talking all of this, but where I'm at right now, I don't know if they can understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'd rather understand and appreciate the people who are around me in this level of grind or street or whatever it is. We could talk about this and we could get drunk and talk about this shit, but tomorrow we're going to wake up and still be on the same mental level we was before we got drunk. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So that elevation requires a whole lot of mental strength and energy. So again, my answer is you in the middle. And that middle is the lack of understanding of how to be strong. Mm-hmm. Right? Like we got to redefine what a strong man is.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, B, let me ask you this before I move to Levi. Hearing you talk, do you think it's better to empower men like a one-on-one session rather than a group? Because the same thing that you said, you know, your boy, he cried on you, you know, but he on social media, he's still gang banging. Like that's the same thing for me. It's like when I'm one-on-one with a brother, that's when they let it out. But when we're in a group setting, you know, it's hard for them to release that pain, so to speak. So what do you think? You think it's better like a sort of like a therapy session, I guess?
Right. I think it's both. I think we need to push the needle. Right. I think the one-on-one is cool, but if you're not pushed to truly dive in a men empowerment environment, then I don't know how beneficial it is if we spend so much time one-on-one. Like I think with the right leadership, if you look at everybody on this panel right now and the way we market it, the way we promote it, the way we speak about men empowerment and what that is, I think more people will be open in the group. My first nonprofit experience was doing a re-entry program for ex-convicts.
Wow.
I went back to the CEO of the organization. Like, first and foremost, I'm not naming it a program for ex-convicts. Let's change the name of that. Yeah. So let's call it Jumpstart. Let's call it, you know what I mean? And let's do, let's say it's for unemployed and underemployed, and then let me go target. Who we need to target.
Right.
But we can't go out and label individuals. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So but when they were all in the same program together, they were in a group. It was about 25 and it had some women in it as well. It was grown men crying. You feel what I'm saying? I was only 25 years old at this point. 24, 25. So but it was grown men crying because they felt comfortable. Like, I think with the right leaders leading a large group, you have to have that. You have to have that ability to create comfort and openness and transparency in a room, and you got to be first with the transparency, right? And then everybody else can open up.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think large groups can work. So let's not stray away from that.
Yeah, definitely. I really think it's a trust thing too, because a lot of men won't talk if they don't trust you. I know I'm like that. Like I fill out a room quick. Like, all right, we got some people that's gonna spill the milk, so I gotta watch what I say. And then, you know, that'll hold stuff in. Like you said, like we go back to that volcano thing. You keep holding stuff in, you're going to explode because you ain't got nobody to talk to because you can't trust nobody. Like, who can you trust? But when you do get in that circle, when you can trust that group of guys, man, you feel a whole lot better. Levi, we'll go to you. Why do you feel men are too proud to be empowered? Is it a sign of weakness?
It's based on how that man is, how he's raised in a sense, and then also I believe through time and age comes the lack, not the lack, but wisdom and knowledge. So the older that we get, you already know, you know what I mean? We start looking at things a whole, and I like I always tell people, men, we go through like different trials of life. So we're not the same people that we were at 19. I'm not the same I was at 23. I'm not the same I was at 30. I'm not the same I was at 32. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we go through different areas, aspects of life that transition our mindsets to be open, and then we become humble. So I think a lot of the issues where we don't reach out or don't accept has a lot to do with ego and pride. And we all know, we all got some guys, you know, we all have been there too, where you can't tell us nothing, and we rather get the experience first. But now we at the age where if you can break something down to me, you know what I mean, save a couple years, let me know right now. But I think a lot has to do with, you know, the upbringing. Like my dad used to tell me, you know what I mean, sometimes it's good to keep your mouth shut. You know what I'm saying? Keep your mouth shut and watch, pay attention. You do have some older males that can really give you, and that's why I miss my uncles. Because when my pops passed away, my uncles, you know, they passed away too. So I don't really have no older male to go to right now and be like, hey, so what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? So in a sense, you know, we got to take into account how we were raised, time, I guess heals our minds to accept the wisdom and knowledge that we'll be able to develop. And then just jumping into that therapy session, you know, like Bryan was saying earlier, I know in my situation, you know, not to get too deep, but, you know, going through the divorce and stuff, I actually got people like in my fitness club that are actually going through divorce. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have watched them online because, you know, I learned stuff. I went through a healing journey. I had to learn myself all over again. I had to evaluate myself and be accountable for where I was wrong at in a lot of situations, and where I wasn't wrong at, I had just to accept it because I didn't have closure in my situation. But I watch other guys, and I'm watching him, and I'm just watching. He pouring out his heart online. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's posting meme quotes and all that stuff. And I said, bro, and I hit him up, and I said, bro, look, it's time to get your self-value back. It's time to get your worth back. I said, let's get into this gym and let's work out. He ain't getting too much detail about everything, but we started hitting the gym, and that's when he was able to start expanding and expressing himself as far as what he was going through in his marriage. Another brother came on. We started working out, getting everything. And those sessions, those areas, like Bryan said, sometimes you'll go out, have a drink or something like that with somebody, and, you know, that somebody knows, and it might trigger that conversation. And like you said earlier, Chris, you don't even know, we don't even halfway know that we dealing with the same issues. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Bryan even hit me up when I was going through, you know what I mean? And I was really going through something. And he hit me up and gave me some advice. And I'm like, yo, I needed that. I was able to vent to him. But being that he's my friend, I wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't expect him just to, you know what I mean, to lock on, but he locked on. He paid attention, and he reached out, said, bro, you know, I know you probably going through this or that, and, you know, I just let it out. Same thing with Linwood Mosley, Spooky, and Uncle Jones and all of them, and Box and all of them, and, you know, Sam Fowler, a couple of them. Like, the connection was there. It had to be the right time, and that's what I do, like, with my, you know, with a couple of my fitness group, even with the women that's a part of it. Like, if we have a Zoom meeting maybe every 2 weeks, and I don't just want to connect it to fitness. And if you have an issue that personally inside that you're hurting with, this is your chance to let it out. We're going to be transparent. So I'm transparent with them first. And then that, I guess, allows them to say, look, this is what I'm going through. It's hard. And I'm like, yo, you know, we talking to each other and everybody gives advice to pick them up. And, you know, it takes, like Bryan was saying, it takes that therapy session location. Sometimes you got to find the right location for people to be able to vent, even if you're not a therapist or something like that.
I'm all about retreats.
Yeah, back to the question. It's just, I think a lot has to do with ego, and sometimes it just takes time for us to garner that wisdom and that knowledge to say, listen, I need to accept whoever's going to give me a piece of life and just, you know, bring it in and apply it to my life.
Nice. JT, why do you feel men are too proud to be empowered? Is it a sign of weakness?
Oh man, good question. I think when dealing with men, you know, again, it has to come from a pure, honest place, because we as men, we're kind of set up to kind of be a defense, even when it comes to our family, or even if it's about going to what they say, the car lot, so to speak. They see a woman coming by herself, they target her.
Right.
Or I can get over, I can sell her anything.
Yeah.
But if that male is present, it's automatically like, let me be more on the up and up with him. So we have more so that respect factor for one another, to where we can smell BS. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
right.
Just to piggyback on what B said, you know, a lot of the work that I really love about community work is when you can get those one-on-ones, and when people open up with honest individuals. And that's something that people have to understand. That's why I don't feel as though everybody can be equal, so to speak, and reaching people. Because everybody don't really come from a pure place, you know, be hidden agendas. And with dealing with men, man, we can sniff that. So I don't really think men have a problem with being empowered by other men. It's just, it has to come from a pure standpoint, you know, where, you know, I'm giving it to you straight.
Right.
You know, and once they identify that you're not playing any games, you're not clout chasing, you're not trying to come up off of them, they're most cases, they're receptive of it. So I think, man, you know, it's so hard to gauge each individual because everybody's different.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just think, again, man, men have to be ready to open up. And when they're ready to open up, there has to be that trust. There has to be that accountability. There has to be that brotherhood. There has to be that transparency. And when all those things are there to create that type of environment, you know, men will spill anything out. But it can't be like, man, if I share this with Chris, how is he going to look at me?
Yeah.
It has to be kind of like that iron sharpens iron mentality, to where now, even though I may be in a broken place, you're still willing to listen to me too. So that's one of the best parts of the empowerment, where it has to be a two-way relationship. Because most men, I don't care what position they're in, whether they're broke, you know, homeless, if it's coming from like a condescending place, they're not going to be receptive of it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, man, you'll be out here talking to homeless people or whoever it may be, people who may be locked up, and they be spitting facts to you.
Yeah.
So when they see that you're receptive, a lot of times they'll be receptive. So I think that's one of the best ways to approach people, approach everybody as an individual with mutual respect, not looking down your nose at them, and understand that you're there to be an advocate and be patient too. And I think that's one of the things that kind of prematurely ends a lot of relationships, to where there can potentially be a breakthrough It's where we do it in our timing, not in the timing of the individual that we're trying to serve.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most frustrating parts on a lot of people. It's like, dang, man, if Chris would have just gave me another chance or just walked with me one more week,
Yeah.
I would have been all right.
Yeah.
But he gave up on me too quick. So I think that's one of the things that men really have a problem with as far as accepting empowerment from other individuals. Is just going to be another person that's going to fall short in my life, especially with coming from a place of dealing with a lot of our situations, fatherless homes. And it's like now, although I want to reach out to Chris, Levi, Bryan, are they going to be another brother that's just going to seem good and then just leave me there waiting at the altar, so to speak, with nothing to turn to? And now I'm broken, and then now I'm really frustrated because when I really want to reach out again, I don't trust nobody because I thought that person was authentic. So it's so many things that play a part in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was hard to put your finger on it, man. Broken partnerships, disappointment from trusting other people, and then them not coming through, or people spilling your business out in the streets. So many things have to deal with why men are reserved as far as reaching out and accepting help.
Yeah, I know. You know, I'm 36 now, and I'm at the point in my life where I'm reevaluating my friendships. Because at this age, there should be no reason why I can't come to you and talk. I think one of the best feelings in the world. It happened to me, you know, a few times where people are coming to me like, "Yo, can we talk? Man, I know you gonna shoot it to me straight." You know what I mean? With relationships. And I do. I'm honest because I'm open-minded. I try to see both sides. You know what I mean? So that's the type of people you want to talk to. Like, yo, give it to me straight. Don't tell me what I need to hear. Tell me, tell me what I want you to say. Tell me what I need to hear. You know what I mean? And I really feel like, like Bryan said, we all in our 30s. You know, we ain't got time for that mess no more. We need you to shoot it straight. Like, and then a lot of times we don't need no advice. We just need you to listen. You know what I mean? You ain't got to say nothing. Just be that. I just need to get it out. I need to vent. You know what I mean? So, I personally don't think it's a sign of weakness, but like we all said, it's just that it's kind of like that trust factor, man, you know, with each individual person. Like, can I trust you with this information? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm talking to you about my wife, are you going to go back? am I going to hear it on the streets?
Talk to the wife.
Yeah, and talk to the wife. Yeah. Are you going to try to have my wife? You know what I mean? Am I going to be a Facebook post? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you really can't. It's hard. Like, you know what I mean? Like I said, I try to fill out people, and then, I don't know about y'all, but it's certain people I trust with certain information.
Fact.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I might tell Bryan something about me personally. I might tell JT about my marriage. You know what I mean? I might talk to Levi about my kids. You know what I mean? But I won't talk to Bryan about my kids. I won't talk to Levi about my wife. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
you just touched on something.
Yeah, it's like that, man. It's like that.
It is. Yep.
So why, we'll go to this question. Bryan, we'll start with you. Why is it hard for men to encourage one another? Because it seems like we hold back a lot of times. We don't. It's like I know a lot of times, like even for me, I might not say nothing because I'm like, I'm gonna mind my business, or I'm gonna wait till he asks me for some help. Then I shoot it. You know what I mean? But why is it hard for men to encourage one another? Just to tell, oh man, you a beautiful black man, bro. You look good today. You know what I mean? Or you a handsome brother. You know, back in the day, we ain't say he was handsome. We like, man, I bet he get a lot of girls, man.
Fly as hell. You fly as hell.
Yeah, he get mad girls, man. But, yeah, so why is it hard for men to encourage one another?
I'm a principle person, so I'm going to go to a principle.
Okay.
And I try to dive deep into the underlining. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of talking about what transpired because of the underlying issue, my thought process go directly to beneath the surface And when you go beneath the surface for men, especially black men, we don't have empowerment. We don't have encouragement. Like, you have to have an ability to encourage before you can encourage.
Right.
So if you walking around with pain, you walking around with doubt, you walking around questioning life decisions, you know what I mean, where you at in life, or you completely focused on your vision and trying to get out of your whatever situation or circumstances you're in right now, how can you possibly have the ability to reach out and just empower and encourage?
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Your mindset is so wired right now that looking at, and your trust levels are so down because, like, you're literally trying to trust yourself. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you're doubting yourself, you're questioning yourself. You go through these emotional roller coasters throughout the day. Men can say we're not emotional, but when it comes to things that affect the pride, we goddamn emotional. You feel what I'm saying?
Yep.
We just handle it differently. We're not emotional on our sleeve, but when it, again, if it affects the pride of who we supposed to be as men, we are emotional. We just hold it the hell in and don't know how to release and don't know how to elevate. You feel what I'm saying? So part of elevation is encouraging, empowerment. So you have to be in an elevated spirit to encourage.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So if you're not there, and sometimes a lot of men not, you feel what I'm saying, it's hard. I mean, and it don't even have to be financially. I'm not talking about the basic above the surface stuff.
Right.
You can be financially great, but in your marriage and going through shit.
Yeah.
So now you're questioning, it's the same principle. You're questioning where you were, how do I get here, how do I get out, what's the communication levels, you feel what I'm saying?
Right.
At this mindset, how can you encourage somebody else's relationship?
Exactly.
How can you encourage another man to do these specific things if you don't have the ability to do it? You feel what I'm saying? So I think certain people are gifted with wisdom. Certain people are gifted with the ability to motivate. That's why you have leaders. You know what I mean? Like, I always say it's 1 in 10, maybe 1 in 100 leaders to follow ratio in society. You know what I mean? Like, some people are gifted with it, so they can be down and out. They can be drained. They can have nothing left in them, and they still going out and serving kids and still going out and serving communities. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I started this show off by saying those people are not regular.
Right.
These people on this host, that shit ain't regular.
Right.
To be able to be completely drained and be completely positive at the same time, it's not regular by any means. So those are only specific individuals. But for the most part, it's difficult to empower and encourage when you're not in that spirit to do so.
Wow. Levi, same question to you, brother.
I can't even comment on that.
I know, right? that was his question by itself.
Ego and pride. That's all I can say.
Ditto. That's it. Yeah. Why is it hard for men to encourage one another? Yeah. Levi.
With Bryan. Bro, my thing is pride and ego. Everything else Bryan touched on, but I think that's what it is. Mainly pride and ego. And when people haven't been in, all right, it's almost like how we grew up in church, and you hear people, they say you want that blessing, but you don't know what that person went through to get to it. So it's a lot of people like that just sit on the outside and they watch and like, man, I ain't commending him on nothing. You know what I mean? Like he don't come to this or he don't show up for that, but you really don't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is another thing too. I see people when there's a trend, if your name isn't mentioned, that's another thing too. If your name isn't mentioned, then people don't even want to be involved because, okay, I've heard, and the crazy thing is everybody that's here, I've always heard somebody say something slick. I just didn't say too much about it. But I've heard somebody say something slick because you see, okay, they making noise out here in the streets and they're actually doing stuff. But why are you hating like that? And I'm like, yeah, I hear you, but he actually doing, he doing his numbers, bro. Like you got, and Burks will tell you in a quick beat. I'm always positive, so I'm like, well, maybe such learned, you know what I mean, a little bit more or something now. But you do have people. If your name ain't mentioned, my name ain't mentioned, I ain't supporting it because it's more so for validation purposes.
Exactly.
We in a situation where men, like I said, this generation has pushed so much. As far as like, especially social media, where we have to be validated, bro. The only validation you need is yourself and God. But that's an issue too. Like a lot of men are, we don't want to support because we want to be validated. We want our names to get a little buzz and feel good about ourselves because we don't really feel good about ourselves internally. So I'm not going to say, okay, yeah, be Bryan doing this thing or Chris doing this thing or Burks, I'm proud of them, but they ain't doing it like this and like doing, you know what I mean? Like, my name ain't mentioned. So now my ego and pride is like, forget them.
I'm salty.
That's a good man.
I mean, just to go back, I have been told by a woman, she felt that I was living in Burks' shadow. And I'm like, how? I said, how was that? But that's my bro. You know what I'm saying? That's my brother. And at the end of the day, he called, I'm there.
Right.
I don't need no. I said same thing with John Fuqua. He called, I'm there. I don't need no line. I could be behind the scenes, and you know what I mean. And a lot of people don't be knowing I do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I don't need a limelight. But you got some guys they just don't. They don't want to partake because their name ain't in the forefront.
Right. Don't want to be a servant.
Yeah. So
validation. I see a lot of people like that. They don't want to serve. They only want to come when the camera's on. Things like that. So you gotta stay away from them people. Like, look, I need people to get down to the nitty gritty. Don't care about who get recognition. Like we have a mission. We need to get this mission done by any means necessary. Right. People ask me, yo, why you go so hard, man? You ain't even getting paid. Like, nah, man, a job needs to be done. And that's what I can say at least about our ancestors, because even though they know they weren't going to make it to the promised land, they was trying to pave the way so we can go. So we can get on that road and we can keep going to the promised land. And that need to be the same thing for us. We need to keep paving the way for the generation behind us so they can keep going forward. And now it don't matter if my name is in the history books or Levi's name in the history books, Bryan or JT, it don't matter. It just needs to get better for our next generation. And if we keep fighting for recognition, nobody's going nowhere, and our next generation is going to be worse off than what we was. Right. So, and
you got a lot of people that they grinding for their first name and they ain't grinding for their last name.
Yeah. Yeah. JT,
I feel like in addition to that, like even the last segment, the last question that you had, when I heard JT answer and then hearing Levi's thing, I'm sorry. I know JT ain't go yet.
Go ahead. All
right. Go ahead. When I'm looking at it as if to do black empowerment, to do men empowerment rather, we need men codes. And whoever's leading this, you feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Who's ever leading any form of men empowerment has to articulate those men codes, and if those men codes are broken, you are no longer part of this empowerment.
Yeah.
Right. Nope.
And that has to be said. It has to be articulated. It has to be broadcasted. It has to be known, and people has to believe and trust that is what it is. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Because if those codes are broken, because that's the problem here that I'm hearing. And I'm a leader at heart. And I've grown to be a leader at mine. So it's like you have to put those things in place in order for men empowerment to truly work. Because I've been a part of coalitions. Levi, I tell you. We've been a part of it. Damn near 50, 60 men in the building.
You ain't lying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then selfishness occurred.
Yep.
I want this and that, or my name ain't on. And people completely forget about the mission.
Right.
Why we here.
Right.
That we getting food for free.
Right.
To be productive for a community.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I've been a part of those things where it's not healthy if the right leader isn't setting the right terms and guidelines and policies up front. That this is what this is. And if you're not about that, you're gone. So any whisper chat that we get and we identify, you're gone.
Right.
Yep. Thanks.
JT, we'll go to you and we hit the next question. Why do you think it's hard for men to encourage one another?
Oh, man. It was cool that Bryan just added that code part in there, man, because as a man, you don't never want to compliment somebody and get disrespected. And it always has to kind of be like a two-way street. What I noticed with a lot of people, from putting work in, it's always like they accept a compliment from me, but it's not two ways.
Yeah.
So you get to the point where that builds up over time too, to the point where it's hard for you to compliment. Because a lot of us start out, hey, what's good, bro? Good job. Then all of a sudden you start to realize, hold up, this is one-sided. This is all about what they can get from me, Now I'm giving you a plug, your organization, your brand. But then now I'm noticing when it come to me, you don't do it the same way. And me personally, I don't like to do anything that I don't feel pure with, or if it don't come from an authentic, organic place.
Yep.
And I don't care who it is. And that's something that I just got comfortable with myself. So I don't care what people read into. Like if there's something that you do and it automatic, and it, we get that intuition too.
Yeah.
It just hit me. I was like, you know what, Bryan did that. That's cool, but I don't feel pure about it. And that's cool. You see what I'm saying? And once we learn how to respect that moving forward, I think that's one of the things that we have to understand. It's about having a relationship.
Yeah.
So I could tell Chris, like, hey man, in passing, if I don't have any expectation from you, then it's easier to empower and encourage because you're somebody that I'm going to see and passing.
Right.
So it's easy. Yo, what's good? What's good, LeBron? Good game last week. Go on about your business. That person don't owe you no type of loyalty. He don't owe you nothing in return.
Yep.
So that's easy to empower him and encourage him. Now, when it comes to the relationship side of things with men, as far as empowering and encouraging, it goes to those codes that Bryan said has to be established and respected. Because now, again, to get back to this is a two-way street. There's some things that I will require of Levi in return and vice versa that with Chris said earlier, where you said, hey, I might talk to JT about my marriage, but not Levi.
Right.
Or I might talk to Bryan about my kids and not JT. It's the same way in empowering and encouraging. There's different levels of expectation and loyalty and common ground to where you can intrude on another man's territory and build on another man's, I wouldn't say turf, but there's just little things that we in society just don't learn how to respect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think if we learn how to have mutual respect for one another, then that will aid us in being able to empower and compliment and encourage. You know what I mean?
Nice. Listen, I'm going to do a quick commercial break. I want to highlight another small business, a black-owned business, Clay Brooks Maintenance, LLC. They're a removal service. They remove anything like construction, demolition, dirt, rocks, sheet metal, random trash, and more. Call Clay Brooks Maintenance, LLC at 856-332-6581. And they also do sanitation service. That's Clay Brooks Maintenance, LLC. All right. Getting back into it. Levi, we'll start with you. What are some areas that men need to be empowered on? Like, fatherhood, husband, boyfriend, activists. So what are some areas that you feel that men, and we can even be more specific, black men need to be empowered on?
Well, I'm just going to key on a few because I know my boys are going to touch on a lot. From what I see, even with like from coaching football, high school football, some men like they literally need a therapy session, bro. Yeah. Like it's a lot of guys that got like if they're not into sports, you got some kids that if they're not into sports, they really still need somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, like me growing up, a lot of people didn't know or don't know. I was adopted as a kid. You know, my mother was an addict, biological mother was an addict. My biological father was an addict. I still haven't met him still to this day. But these are things that a lot of us hold on to growing up, and it gives us a lot of anger.
Yeah.
I think that's some of the reason why I love football so much, because I can go on that field and just be a beast and do, you know what I mean? Like just spaz. Yeah. Had a lot of anger. So, you know, you see this short dude and he hit like, you know, lights and stuff. There was a lot of anger coming, you know what I mean? Like a lot of anger. And I learned that later on, and I learned that last year. My first time ever doing therapy last year, I learned I had abandonment issues. So I had abandonment issues. Oh, you got to think. I never acknowledged that, but I learned that's what I dealt with just doing that therapy session. And I used to clown therapy. You know what I mean? Growing up, I ain't going to therapy. I ain't crazy. You know what I'm saying? I ain't this and that. But the things that they pull out in you, you know, just off of basic questions, will have your joker almost ready to cry. And you know, we ain't weak. You know, but you got to think. There's so many boys, like, literally in the positive vibrations. There's one kid, he just kept telling me, shut up, and getting mad. He was always upset. I'm like, yo, who are you talking to? So I got with him like a coach, got up in him, you know, I'm like, bro, like, you going to chill that out. So he was real upset. I told his mom. So he came back and he was like, I said, look, so I broke it down to him almost like a therapist. You know, I was like, listen, I know something must be going on. I said, that's not you. That's not how you act. I know something else. So later on, he broke it down. He was upset because his mom and dad have split. His dad always will tell him he's going to pick him up, but he never picks him up. You know what I'm saying? So that young man right there had a lot of animosity and a lot of anger. And so now he was just throwing it. He was telling the kids to shut up and everything else, and said the same thing to me. And I'm an adult. So we had to channel that. But I saw right then and there, it's a lot of people that have a lot of frustration in their lives. And instead of having somebody to talk to, they don't know the norm. Like, it's shunned upon. Like, you know, you don't need no therapy. Just go on, do your thing, go to work. Like you were saying, like we talked about earlier, a volcano. It's a volcano erupting. So I think a lot of us men need to be encouraged and empowered to find, if you don't feel comfortable talking to somebody of another culture, talk to somebody. There's therapists that are a part of your culture that understand where you came from. Talk to them. Let them know, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm dealing with. I watched my mom get beat, or this or that, and this just pains me. It makes me mad as hell, or something like that, because it's going to pull that anger out so you able to be the best version of you, so you're not focused on that. You know what I mean? You're going to deal with it. Part of your healing. It's so many people right now, and we probably in the same boat, that haven't healed from something that happened to us when we was 5 or 6, or something that we saw when we was 5 or 6.
Right.
So many of us.
Right.
But then we put it on to our kids. So now our kids are growing up with this ideology that we gave them from an experience that we never healed ourselves from, you know, in the beginning, to help show them, okay, this is why I sheltered you so much, but I might have sheltered you a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? So, and it almost is like with the same thing with women. Like, some women might shelter their kids so much that when their kids turn 18, they just wild out or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's because of that portion that you pass down, like you said, generational. So, but that's what I feel like. That's one thing men need to be empowered on, is seeking counseling, therapy, and somebody they can talk to. Young men, young kids, adults as well. So,
right. Bryan, same question. What are some areas that men need to be empowered on?
So many. we need to be empowered on
everything.
So
everything.
Bitcoin.
All right, so here's the thing, though.
Where's the coop? Stocks.
Before I start, like, it's kind of like, it's kind of an issue right now. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the issue that we just joke about that when they say everything, but on the flip side, we ask the question, why do women unite and empower?
Yeah.
To basically diss us.
Right.
And then they get to the question on what do men get empowered on? It's like, damn. So if we feel like that, how the fuck do women, I'm sorry, excuse me. How do women feel?
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's really a catch-22 at this point. And it struck me just now that we started laughing because of that. Right? Like, we really got a lot to work on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, as men. So I feel like we really have to be empowered first and foremost with two elements. I know we all got different faiths and walks of life. That's one element. That's, you know what I mean? I'm going to say three elements. That's one element. Faiths and walks of life. Different, whatever faith you believe in, but truly dive in and engage in that faith, whether it's Christianity, Islam, spirituality, whatever the case may be, just fully indulge in that and be one with that, because that is the signature part of who we are as a core, you know. But the two that I was speaking on is woman and family.
Right.
Right. I think we really have to be, because, and this is the flip side of it, because a lot of us haven't been brought up, right? Black men specifically haven't been brought up in that two-parent household to be able to experience the balance. And I've been in youth development for so long. I'm not in it right now currently, but I've been in it for so long, and I've seen the effects of an 11-year-old girl who parents are just getting divorced versus another 11-year-old girl who never had their dad. And the emotional distraught that happens from that 11-year-old girl, from them parents being divorced, is like beyond me in relation to the 11-year-old girl who don't even have a dad. So to experience having two parents in a household and then learning at an adolescent or teenage age that your parents are no longer going to be in the same household, that kid was a completely different person for at least 3 months in our program because of that. It had that much effect. That lets you know just how powerful it is to have two parents in a household. Because the other 11 that never had a dad, she all over the place. You know what I mean? Having fun, engaged in this activity, calling me her
doing the busted challenge.
Yeah, you know, she's lit. You know what I mean? She in leadership program. She's selling the pizza for fundraising. She all over the place. You know what I mean? Is she hurt still? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the hurt that's showing with this kid that had a two-parent household, that parents going in divorce, it was a completely different thing that I've never experienced because I didn't grow up in it. So it was a culture shock to me. Like, oh my God. Like, she is really like, this is one of my awesome students, my positive students, and completely went left. So it shows just how powerful it is to grow up in a balanced home. A lot of people ask, what's more important, a father or mother? There's no importance. The importance is balance. The importance is being able to know I can go to mom for this. I can go to dad for this. I can trick mom for this. I can trick dad for this. At least I know that the love, in order for me to trick, I know the love that they both give me. Once you get to an adolescent, teenage age. That means you identify the love. You feel what I'm saying? You know the sternness. you know the nurturing. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know that this person going to push you. You know that this person just going to listen. Or father is just going to listen on this situation, and mom may not be able to understand on this situation. Please don't tell mom. Mom, please don't tell dad. Like, to have that means you're full.
Right. Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
That's good.
And you're able to now, right, be a part of a new family dynamic that you're creating for yourself, and be that, and be able to look at like, I already know. I know you're going to play me against your mom. I did that with my mom and dad. But if you never did that with mom and dad, and you only had mom, or you only had dad, or you didn't have mom or dad biologically, and like Levi said, growing up in the foster parent home, then how can you look at a situation and be like, you know what? I know how to be a father, a family, and a husband. I know how to be a loyal man to be able to identify and strengthen the woman who I encounter in the dating phases, in the relationship phases. I'm not even talking about the husband and wife phases. Right. I'm just talking about you as a person. I had to grow to be this person. You feel what I'm saying? Absolutely. It took me through all of these leadership trainings and youth development and community trainings and all that to become an individual to say, you know what, those ways is done. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to prepare myself to be this person, right? Like, and still I can't be the person fully because I haven't experienced. I just know a vision that I'm going to be. Yeah. But a lot of people don't even have that vision, right? Like, their only vision is their past. Yeah. So if your own vision is your past, that's all you got to work with in your current present. So it's more so of, you can't. So when I say family and I say woman, if we do those things where we there for our kids, we understand the importance of education, we understand the importance of village, we understand the importance of mentorship. So therefore, when you and that's for the woman too. So the man is teaching the woman because the woman is the same bracket that we in this particular topic that they didn't grow up with a father. But they don't know. Yep. So we out there arguing with these midget league coaches and not knowing that these midget league coaches are volunteers. Yeah. That's instilling character, leadership, teamwork, and all of these principles in your kid for 2 hours a day. Yeah. 10 hours a week. Yep. Maybe 12 because of the game. You feel what I'm saying? Like, to understand the importance of that means that you understand the importance of the principle of family and the principle of being loyal and honest to your woman, man. Like, we gotta love and understand that part. Like, and there's black women that don't, and there's black men that don't. And the problem with some of us as leaders is we want to reach them instead of reaching the willing. Yeah. You got to reach the willing first. Right. Right. Like, if you want to do a black empowerment event, let's do it with the black men who first understand the principle of empowerment. To create the environment in which the other people would say, I can trust that. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, like, I can get behind that. Anybody that want to find a new church, they go into a church to see the environment. They're like, oh, that environment was created by a small group of people first. Yeah. And then when people came, then, I can trust this. I can trust this. Now they follow. Now they being transparent. Now they being open. Now they joining. Now they tithing. Now they doing all of those things. So it's the same thing with any kind of group. You start with the willing and then it grows. Right. That's good. You establish the core principles, the codes and everything else, then it grows. So back to it, like, man, when it comes to men empowerment, women and family got to be on literally the top three. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. JT, what are some areas that men need to be empowered on?
Man, I would say in their household, just like B was saying, that's very key and essential to anything, man, and that's what a lot of people don't understand, even about going in on community work. And I feel as though that part has to be kind of like stabilized by the woman that you have in your life. You see what I mean? Yeah. So with me being so active out in the community, my household, I usually keep a little close to the vest and more private. But, my wife is the source of a lot of my motivation, strength, situations where I might be ready to give up prematurely, and she's quick to remind me, like, hold up, understand that. Remember, you said God gave you this vision, so you have to understand He's going to make provision. He prepared you for this. You deserve it. Go out there and earn it. Go get it. So I think, given that reassurance in the household first, it's easy for me personally to go out in the community and be strong, because I know the backing that I have at home, to where if I have to make a sacrifice financially to fund something, I know she's going to back me up. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, this might be a little tight right now because I had to help a kid out. So knowing that she's going to pick up the slack to what I had to sacrifice to pull from our finances or our household, that's where I feel as though gives me a lot of power, so to speak, and encouragement, because then it also trickles down to the kids, because now, the kids are straight to where she's willing to do a little bit more if I do have to be out of the household, more often for other duties that I'm obligated to. So when you feel comfortable in that space and knowing that your household is intact, that's the best part. Like Bryan was saying, man, it has to start with your woman and your children, man. Once you know that that's cool, you feel so comfortable operating anywhere else. And a lot of the other stuff don't matter when you're coming home to a clean environment, peaceful environment. Your kids are straight, taken care of, well-fed, well-groomed. And when that's intact, man, it's easy for you to go out here and motivate other individuals, because you don't have nothing to prove. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have a saying that I like to tell people is that, women rule the world, men just govern it. See what I'm saying? Because women is the motivating factor in everything. That's where a lot of beef start. That's where a lot of contention start.
Wars.
Wars. So even if we're talking in community work, I'll tell people all the time, you can indirectly affect so many people just by their woman coming home saying, you know what, I like that program JT has going on. Not too many men going to keep wanting to hear that. So they either going to sit there and say, I'm going to be a better coach. I'm going to be a community activist. Something. That woman is going to motivate you to do better, just word of mouth or indirect competition. So when that's intact with a female, and being comfortable in that capacity, man, it affects everything across the board. I heard a guy was in Sam's Fish and Chicken one day, and the guy that was hooking the clams up for me, he was just talking to me, and he said, man, I don't get a lot of these guys that go out here and try to prove themselves, this, that, and the third. He said, man, if you got a woman at home that's faithful and that love you, nothing else in the world should matter. See what I'm saying? And I'll just piggyback off of what he said, man, and that's what is the biggest thing that can keep a man grounded, is just having his family life intact. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree. I think we all can agree, family life and, the woman and children in our life. And I'm going to go as far as saying self-love too. I think, we need to be more empowered on self-love. I think that's like the initiation of loving everybody else right. Cause if you don't love yourself and you angry all the time, you'll ruin a good family. You'll ruin a good woman. You'll ruin some good kids. So you gotta, and it goes back to what Levi was saying, therapy. You need, I feel like you need to do what you need to do to get yourself right. There's no way I can love my wife and my kids if I'm not right. If I can't go talk to somebody about the hurt that was caused to me, when I was 5 or 6, or my dad leaving, the hurt that's caused. And then here I am repeating the cycle. Now I'm leaving my kids when things get hard, or I'm knocking my wife upside the head because I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to get, I don't want to get my frustration out, or I'm getting my frustration out the wrong way. We really need to be empowered on self-love. Like, it's okay to love yourself. I know with all of us, we put people before we put ourselves. And a lot of times it's okay take care of yourself first and be like, no, I need to handle me first. You know what I mean? It's okay to say that. It's okay to do that. It's okay to go get pampered, go get a massage. You know what I mean? To get a manicure, pedicure. You know, I frowned upon them things, but once you get it done, man, I mean, you feel a whole lot better. You know, you know what I mean? So, for me, it's self-love. You know, that we need to be more empowered on. I'm gonna go to this question and then, we'll kind of take it from there. What can we do, to get more men to be empowered, like to come to more, empowerment in sessions? JT, I'll start with you. More empowerment in sessions, just to get us together, to get us in that thing like Bryan was saying, where we can come together and unite and just kind of, you know, instead of that one-on-one talk where we can come in and we can get into that group session and we can just, you know, just talk. Like so what can we do to get more men empowered?
Man, just, you know, being honest, being authentic, keeping it real, and respecting the gift that individual has, right? Mm-hmm. So one thing that I notice is a trend is people invite people into a room just to degrade them in a sense. And once men sense that, like either you're trying to sell something or undersell their value, that's what kind of breaks, you know, men's motivation as far as being a part of something. And that usually what causes, you know, separation. So like even with this panel, if you're going to call us to something like this or to a group, you have to respect each person's perspective, the gift that they're going to bring, and their ideology. And when you do that and learn how to complement one another, people will flock to it.
Right.
But when people get in the room and then it's like, all right, I invited Chris here because I know you have a gift. But then now when you get in the room, I'm going to downplay your gift. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what keeps men from getting involved in a lot of stuff, you know, ego bumping and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, not being heard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not being heard. And you just have to have honest dialogue and conversation. Yeah. Now, like, I can't, you know, reiterate it enough. It has to come from an organic, pure place, man, because we as men, we just have that built in us.
Yeah.
That's why it's hard to get over on us, because it's like, come on, bro, don't play me short. Just be honest with me.
Right.
Of why you want me involved. If you let me know that, then we bounce ideas off of each other. But when I know you're just trying to, you know, clout chase or steal from me and, you know, ride my coattail and all that type of stuff, that's what causes men to separate. And then there has to be, like Bryan said, a core that's already in place that's going to complement, you know, the movement moving forward. So once you establish that core that have that common ground, because men usually like to see a solid core. It's hard for men to kind of just look at one individual and be like, yeah, Levi's solid. We usually like to look that man can empower other people first. It's kind of almost like a weird science. Yeah. So if I'm like, dang, why Chris always standing alone? He seemed to be intelligent. How come nobody else want to be around him? Yeah. So then when you start to see, okay, Chris got a solid core around him, and then they kind of bring you into the fold, and you start to see that it's real and it's cool and it's trustworthy, you know, it'll just become like a ripple effect and a snowball effect where more people will come in, especially men if you're trying to attract them. Has to be real, has to be authentic. And it has to be something that is fluid and willing to adjust with the different personalities that's going to come on board. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And then you have to be able to identify the direction that you want to go into. So if you're going to say, all right, we want to go in a positive direction. Yeah. When you attract other men to it, it has to be that. You see what I'm saying? Yep. You can't be like, okay, this is a positive move, and now they get in there and now they starting to have beef on the streets just because they connected with you.
Yeah.
So now, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I thought you said this was positive, man. This ain't nothing positive. So your mission statement and what you put out there, it has to be that if you want other men to get involved. Because men ain't got time to be playing games. You know what I mean?
At all. Levi, what can we do to get men more empowered?
One thing, like I would say for me, I would say motives, create a motive, a goal, and execute. Like Bryan said earlier, we done been in so many meetings, Nehemiah coalitions. I'll keep it real. Politicians, this organization, and all we doing is eating. We just eating food.
Refreshments.
My goal on this earth, I always say.
I said refreshments.
Yeah, refreshments. My goal on this earth.
We had some real good food there.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and now they pay for it too. Because look, my goal has always been my birth date, that dash, and then one day I'll have a death date. In that dash, I got to have an impactful story that's going to change something of this generation, not just my life, but somebody else's life. So I'm the type of guy, like, I'll be a part of a movement, but I watch it. I look, and if I don't see no action, if I just see you meeting all the time, and I see you just meeting, and then you meeting, and I see maybe this politician pop up here, or I'll see this other politician come up, and I just watch. I watch first, and I want to see the execution. Because if I don't see the execution, then I don't want to be a part of it because I'm not there. I can have a powwow with my own kids. I can have a powwow with my own relatives and family and talk about what we can do to change the community. Right. I'm all about it. So I think for men to be empowered and for us to create an empowered movement, we got to create a motive, which is empowerment, a goal. What's our goal? What's our end goal? We got to have a couple different goals that says, okay, we got this goal. So what's our deadline? That means if we got a deadline, that means that we have to execute before this, you know what I mean? Before we get to that deadline, and something has to be done. So there has to be some type of action. So I think it's basically that we need to create, to establish that action plan.
Right.
What's the action plan?
Right.
If we're going to empower, that means, it could be something as simple as 5 of us coming together and say, look, this is our goal. We're going to empower each other. Well, how are we going to empower each other? We're going to work on our credit together. By 6 months, your credit need to be this or that or that. We're going to call our creditor, our debts, our collections, whichever. We're going to get the secure visa, whichever. And we're going to do this and do that for our personal goals. And by the time we get here, everybody's credit should be looking halfway decent, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, so basically, I think we need to always have an action plan and a goal and a deadline to help with this, help guys come together and actually feel like they're actually doing something versus just meeting for just an empowerment. We just say we're meeting for empowerment and there's no action. It really is worthless. You can do that with your kids.
Yeah. And I don't mean to put down the women, but
right.
I see that a lot, especially with the women, and because I actually perform, do comedy at a lot of women empowerment things, and sit there hearing them talk is just, there's no action.
Right.
It's like a
church almost sometimes.
Yeah, like I'm just trying to hype them up. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these preachers. Just trying to get you excited and get your money and all that, but then, like you said, there's no end game. There's no, there's nothing. Well, all right, what's after this? When this is over and, we get done, we go back in our cards.
It's like a New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
I want to do this and I'm going to do that 2 weeks later.
Yeah. It's like that. And then, us men, like you said, we're men of action. We're leaders.
Right.
So we want action. Like, we don't want, like you said, we just don't want to sit there and look. All right, what we gonna do? 'Cause we can talk. We can talk all day.
All day.
But we have to do action. You know what I mean, Bryan? You can wrap us up with this question. What can we do to get more men empowered?
I have 2 things. I kind of like jotted it down real quick because they both touched on like phenomenal things. So I had to like write something that was different because I was already thinking what they thought already. So I piggyback off of what Levi just said because that was the first bullet point when he was speaking is that those end goals, those action plans, man, like we say those things, but I just want the listeners to truly understand how impactful that is. Mm-hmm. Like an action plan literally comes with a group of people collectively talking about where we want to go. Yeah. What is the goals? And then documenting the steps collectively to get there. Not with argument. There may be some debate. There may be some creative differences on how we're going to get there. But at the end of the day, we're going to create the goal of how we get there. And one solution don't mean it's going to solves all problems. Right. So if you have a creative solution, you have a creative solution, you have a creative solution. You may say youth, you want to do sports and basketball and football programs. You may say youth, you want to do STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, and art, and all of these different things. You may want to deal with family. You may want to deal with the ex-convicts, like, cool. Right. Those are all pillars. It's called an organizational structure. Right. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So to piggyback off what Levi said with the action plans and the goals, to have an empowerment group, it has to form in some form of organizational structure. What are the pillars? What are we focusing on? We're doing service in the community. We're doing youth development. We're doing, women empowerment. We developing like families. We focusing on financial literacy. Like we have all of these focuses. So whatever talent you feel as though you best at, right? Fall in line.
And Bryan, look, let me throw this in there.
Which part you want to be in?
Let me throw this in there. Somebody came to you, well, not came to you, but just say they came to Cumberland County and said, "Look, I got $200 million right now. What y'all need? Who has a plan?"
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So the thing is, you need an organization.
You got to have it written down, plain, the goals, and that's where I understand exactly where you're coming from.
And that goes back to what Bryan was saying. Whatever you're good at, fall in line, and that's a problem what a lot of people have. They want to do everything, or they want to do something they're not good at. You know what I mean? That's the wisdom that you need to have. Like, all right, I know I'm not good with money, but Levi is. So Levi's going to be over our financial thing. He's going to write down what we're doing with that $200 million, and he's going to give it to our sponsor. I don't know how to do that. I'm just, we're going to buy some t-shirts. Right, we gonna, don't nobody want to hear that with $200 million. So, Go ahead, Bryan. We didn't mean to cut you off. But
No. Great interjection, because that's basically, the gist of that part of what I'm saying. That organizational structure is just so real that when you create it, everything follows. You know what I mean? Yeah. Along with that comes with those, like the man codes that we were talking about. That's basically written up in our policies, and, like this is what we are about. If you go against that on social media or whatever the case may be, you're out. Because another thing JT said that's still a part of this part when my second one comes next is that when JT was talking about when you are involved, like you can be in this positive circle and it's still negative. Right? Like you're a part of all of these people that have the ability to make change, and all you're doing is talking about who not doing what and who who not to talk to. And this person, you hear more dirt in these circles than you do in the streets. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's the same situation. So like, no, I don't want to hear nothing there. Only thing I want to hear about is the mission, the vision, and what we're doing. I don't care about who we need to stay away from. That's the conditioning from being in a small town. Right. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. How many times we want to hear the same names? JT Burks, Bryan, Levi, Chris Clark, JF. How many times we want to hear those same names? You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it goes into the next part. Right. Leadership is about not passing the torch. It's about having a torch and encouraging the young to use their torch to use your torch as a light to create their own path. Right. Yep. Where is our youth? Mm-hmm. So if you're talking about men empowerment, these teenagers are about to be men. Some of them already men because they having kids right now.
Yeah.
Right. You got teenagers, you got 21 and 25. So I see and I view all of these different things that we're doing, but where are them on these panels? Where are them in our programs? Mm-hmm. Where are them? Why are we not providing the wisdom to them? Why are we not training them? Why are we not engaging them? Because those kids that's going to Rowan or going to Cumberland County College or in high school right now that are doing good, they're overlooked because we spend too much time on the negativity.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? We're trying to change all the gangbangers, but these black kids is still in these schools amongst the gangbangers that need an outlet.
Yeah.
But we're not reaching them. And if we reach them, then they change, then we can change the gangbangers. We can change they can see that there's something positive. I remember in high school, I remember being a part of a club. It was called Every Young Man Make a Difference at Cumberland Regional.
Yeah, FBLA.
Now, the position that I'm in now, I realized that lady she had just too much going on, so she couldn't do as much as she wanted with us. But if she was consistent with us, we could have changed the whole goddamn dynamic of the school because we was all popular. And we all was in that program, and everybody would have been in that program with us. Yeah. But she was just doing too much because she was an administrator as well. So she brought us in our office to have a conversation. But if she had a legit program to take us forward, everybody would have followed us.
Sure,
you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I remember that
being
club.
said, like, you focus on those kids and you focus on those teens and those young adults that are working, that do want to do positive things. They just don't have the outlet because we're focusing on the wrong kids. Yes. And I'm not saying not to focus on the wrong kids. I'm saying when you focus on the willing, you're able to provide that balance or that, not balance, that persuasiveness.
Yep.
You say that this is popping. Right? Yeah. You can have a whole bunch of gangbangers in a whole bunch of teenage gangbangers in a room and talk to them for 60 minutes. The other 23 hours, they right back out in those streets.
Yep.
So if all you providing is your lip service, that's nothing. But once you provide something, you say, hey, this is what we're doing, right? Come with us. We've got teams already doing it. You see what they're doing. We're going on trips. We're going on college stores. We're doing this and that. They're going to be a part of it, right? But we're not reaching, right? So where's the youth? That's my thing. The second part of men empowerment is not 30-year-olds. Yeah. It's not 40-year-olds. It's 20-year-olds too.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's teenagers too. They're the next people that's about to be men. So if we're not doing those things, we're not really doing men empowerment. We're just still being around the same circle of the JFs, the Bryans, the JT Burks, the Levi Feeneys, the same circle talking about what we're going to do to change. Mm-hmm. Where are the new people in the room?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because if you think about it,
empowerment.
Yeah, if you think about it, that's the age where pretty much all of us was wilding out. That 20, that early 20s. You know, I had my first kid at 21, you know. You know, so that's the age where we really need to get to, because by the time, you know, we turn 30, we all settled down, you know, we know what we want to be in life, you know what I mean? We moving forward. Is that I didn't know what I wanted to do 19, 20, 21, 22. You know what I mean? I needed guidance. I didn't have it. You know what I mean? Like, I seen stuff, but it was like I was torn between the clubs and girls and, you know, things like that. But, like, I really felt like if I would have had an outlet, because I was too old for sports, you know, I wasn't going pro, you know what I mean? So it wasn't nothing to do but get a little rinky-dink job and hit the clubs up every week. You know, you know, drink, bars, whatever, be with women, you know what I mean? That's all it was. So, yeah, that age bracket, that 18 to 25, that's that crucial age where we really need to get to them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, wow. That was a great conversation, fellas, man. I appreciate y'all being on the show.
Keep up the great.
No, we appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah, man. We, I really need people, especially the men, to listen to this. But before we get out of here, I do want to go around and, you guys can give out your social media handle, or, you know, and let us know what's next for you. And if you have any, final remarks on the topic, just go ahead. JT, we'll start with you.
All right. Again, bro, appreciate you letting me come on your show.
Yes, sir.
It's been a privilege and an honor. People can reach me on Facebook, Instagram, JT Burks. You can reach out to our nonprofit Positive Vibes community group on Facebook. And you can join our South Jersey group, Positive Vibrations of South Jersey, where we share only positive stories and events and things like that. And just moving forward in 2021, we're just going to continue to do community events, educate our youth, mentor our youth, continue with our athletic programs, and just continue to promote the light. So that's the best thing that we can do moving forward. And I just thank everybody that's been supporting us and encouraging us along the way.
Nice. Levi?
You can find me on Instagram, Levi Feeney. Also on Facebook, I'm in the process of trying to combine my photography page with my personal page, Levi Reeves Feeney on Air. I also got a podcast that's going to be coming out on the Cook Up Radio Show next month in March. It's called In the Bread Box, the Ology series. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that. Got a lot of episodes. I'm going to be interviewing some of these guys as well.
Yes, sir.
And I got a couple things I'm working on this year, just trying to get back to who I was in 2012 when I was going crazy with the media and all that stuff. So I'm getting ready to get back to that. We also got a media program getting ready to come up with Positive Vibes, where the kids are going to be learning how to do film, photography, journalism, and all that other stuff.
Nice.
So we're going to try to keep them going so they can learn all about media and telling their own stories and whatnot. And, just staying tuned to the Cumberland County area, and wherever I go, all I'm going to do is work. All I know is how to execute. So if it's about action, I don't care who it is. You need help, just call me. I'm there. Let's get to work.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all, man. Love y'all too, brothers.
Yes, sir. You got that fans only page too, right?
Yeah.
You got his teeth done.
Hey, Bryan, let them know about where they can find you.
Hey, first and foremost, shout out to the Chris Clark podcast show, man. Shout out to you, brother.
Appreciate you.
This motivated me. I'm sure it motivated Levi and others with the podcast. JT, shout out to your podcast as well. So I'm also doing a podcast called Still Not Successful. It should be out in the spring or ready to be launched around the springtime.
Nice.
It's about self-empowerment, persevering. So there'll be a lot of different guests on the show, and I'll be talking about things that I do in my coaching program called Empower Circle. You can follow that on Facebook, Empower Circle. We have that group there now. But the book, I have a book that'll be coming out in the summer, which will also be called Still Not Successful. So podcast and the book go hand in hand. My coaching program go hand in hand, and we just talk about different ways to be self-empowered, and that can be for any gender, any race, any ethnicity. It's all about those principles. So anybody who's listening to this show, I just want to say, man, all my men, I hope y'all definitely was empowered by this show. Shout out to Chris Clark again, man. I didn't know what to expect when I came on, but this was powerful, man. It motivated me. So thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Listen, and I'm Chris Clark. Y'all know y'all can follow me on all Facebook and Instagram at Chris Clark Comedy. Please go to my website, sign up for the newsletter, chrisclarkcomedy.com. Y'all stay safe and remember God is love. Peace.